So without further ado, I want to get the interview here started, and I want to introduce a really talented real estate professional, a skilled career individual who's on a second career. David is with us. It will be a year in April that he's been doing this full time. He covers central and I guess northwest central New Jersey, Somerset, Hunterdon, Middlesex, Essex, and Morris counties. Do you cover anything besides that, David?
That's about it.
I mean, he'll occasionally go down to Mercer County, but those are his primary areas. David closed, and this is not under contract, this is closed commissions in his pocket, 19 transactions in 11 months. And a lot of his transactions have been either from his personal sphere, Zillow, or believe it or not, referrals from clients already within the first year. So congratulations. And there's his North Star sitting right next to him, Trudy. David, I know I didn't get a chance to call you before. Did you get a chance to look at how many active buyers that you're working with right now?
I did, yeah. So this year, 2023, I've been out with 19 people and done 66 showings. I did look last year. It was quite a lot because this goes to wanting to improve a batting average, I guess. I was out for 142 days between April and December. There might be multiple showings on a day with multiple people, but it was 142 days. But this year, I've been out with 19 different people. Okay.
And David, did you ever also look up like what your success rate is when you make an offer? I know we were talking about that yesterday in preparation.
I did. So yeah, so I've closed on some, but I've had 20 offers that just weren't good enough and didn't go anywhere. I had 2 that were accepted, but then failed on financing. One poor guy had a stroke and ended up on disability and couldn't move forward. And someone else had a bit of a challenge with their credit history.
So how many accepted out of 20? Now you had 20 unaccepted offers, right? How many accepted?
Well, that'll be the 19 that went through.
So you're at 50%.
Close enough, I guess. Yeah.
Wow, that's way more impressive than you thought, right?
Yeah, I thought it was about 1 in 3 or 1 in 4.
Yep.
I think it's I think the mental challenge I was having last night was I haven't made as many offers as I thought I'd made, considering the number of people I've taken out.
Fantastic. So those are so you're getting 1 out of 2 offers accepted in what's still a very competitive environment, and there has to be on each property. David, would you say that there's, I don't know, 3 to 6 offers or more?
Some have been higher than that. We've got in early on 1 or 2, and there was one we were the only offer on, but yes, on average, it's multiple offers. It's almost always multiple offers.
Okay, so on average, it's he's in the same environment that we're in, and you know, David deals with you know, many different markets. You know, Middlesex County culturally is different than Hunterdon County than is Essex County. So you've been able to be a chameleon and work with a lot of different buyers and agents. Can I share with them? I don't want this to be leading, but can I share with them the 5 traits or the 5 pieces of your success? And then you can kind of expand upon it.
Sure.
Because I did a pre-interview with David, and you know, I asked him, what's the one thing that is most important to your success? And you probably remember number 1, right?
Follow up, wasn't it?
Follow up skill. Yes. Follow up. And can you just talk to the audience about like what your follow up looks like?
Sure. So for everybody I'm working with, I set up pre-formatted searches in the MLS. So I use CJ and GSMLS. And then I run those every day. And if anything pops up with the days on market of 0 or 1, I read it, I make sure it looks about right, and then I send it to the people that I'm working with in an email and then with a text to let them know I've sent them the email. Because I think that's my job, to present options to people. And I find I have more success when I'm proactive, saying, well, what about this house and what about that house? People respond quite well to that rather than a more passive approach, because I've also got people on KV Core alerts. But I think if you send something and say, this is what I noticed about this, what do you think? I seem to get good response. As I say, every day something comes up, or certainly within 48 hours, I'll get it in front of the people I'm working with.
Okay, and then the number 2 that we talked about was, I guess, kind of like your ability to make time to come on with us here, to get up early, to work late. You want to talk about your work ethic and maybe even connect that into your prior career and share with them what you keep telling me every time I ask you about how do you work so hard, David?
Okay, so I spent 30 years in technology, 20 of which it was on Wall Street, and Wall Street works you hard. So I was usually first in. I would often turn the lights off on the way out. So it was long days with a long commute. And so relatively speaking, this is easier. I don't work as many hours. I work probably every day, but I don't feel like I'm working as many hours or under the same level of pressure that I was working on in Wall Street. So this is easier because it's more fun. And so you don't really notice, I find. I don't really notice.
What does a typical day look like for you?
I get up while I'm sitting, waiting. Well, while I'm having my coffee, I'm usually running the searches for people. And then, you know, if I've got appointments, I'm out and about. I was out most of yesterday. I think I started at 9:30. My 6 p.m. Appointment ended up being cancelled. People, actually, the owners cancelled the appointment, but that would have been basically all day. And I'm out at 7 o'clock tonight, I think.
And then in terms of taking a chance on clients, you know, do you get everybody pre-approved before you take them to see a house, or can you describe that to the audience?
I don't. I like to get to meet people first before we talk about whether they're pre-approved. That has its downsides, obviously, but I like to get people interested in seeing homes, meet them, have them work with me, and then I can have a conversation about, if it looks like they're interested in something, have a conversation about the process that they can expect, especially with first-time buyers. Because I always say it might feel a bit overwhelming, but these are the things, this is the process that we'll go through from start to finish. And I give them another 3-minute overview. And one of those things will be, it's going to depend, the direction changes whether you need a mortgage or you don't need a mortgage. And if you do, in order to make an offer, you'll need pre-approval. And then I'll just say, are you pre-approved? And if they're not, then I tell them I can help them with one of the preferred lenders. But I don't do that on the phone before I've met them.
Rob, there's a question in the chat asking if the searches that you do, David, are sent first to you, or do they go direct to the buyer?
They go to me first. So I vet them. So KV Core, the alerts on KV Core just go. And I warn people that they're going to get 2 kinds. And I tell them the KV Core alerts are really a catch-all in case I'm busy on a particular day or I'm away, but they won't be as targeted as the personal searches I do off the MLSs. So I send those, I run them, I validate that it looks about right, that I'm not sending people to a flood zone, that I'm not going to be sending people to a project house when they've asked for something move-in ready. So I read all of the listings, and then I package it up in an email and send it off, and then text them to say, I just sent you an email, because as we know, most emails go to spam.
Thank you.
And can you talk about how do you engage people? Like, what's your communication style like?
Well, I've always liked to have fun at work, whatever I've been doing. Find humor in a lot of things, even seeing homes. So I try and be, I think my natural style is perhaps to be casual about things, err on the side of casual rather than formal. And I find generally that people react quite well to that, because it doesn't set up something that feels like I'm any different to them. So we just go around and have a chat about a house, if that's what I'm actually doing at the time.
And with your communication style, is your attire also consistent with your communication style generally?
When we went to Atlantic City, I had to find a tie. So yeah, I'd be dressed like this. Yeah, generally I'm somewhat casual as I walk around with them, and that's always how the clients are dressed.
Now, when we talked before, you've had some of your past clients within a year already refer you to other people.
Yeah.
Is that by chance, or do you actively engage, or do you set clues for them to keep you top of mind?
I reach out to people on holidays. I have followed up with the people who I've closed. I think some of it is a little bit of chance, but the first referral I got was actually off the first closing I got. If you remember, Rob, when we went door knocking in Greenbrook, the house at the top of the street was actually my first closing.
Okay.
That person referred me to his best friend, who was like my 5th or 6th closing, as it turned out, and also his uncle, who I haven't found something for yet, but he's looking for a rental. I've had a couple of repeat buyers as well.
So
to your point, I'm not doing enough. I recognize the fact I'm not doing enough to keep myself front of mind, because these sessions have been very useful for me, and the Friday sessions as well, when we talk about what people do to make sure you're always front of mind. And I've been thinking, I don't do that. Certainly don't do it consistently or enough. So I've learned something for sure.
So I think this Friday, my inclination is to do something on systems and how systems can give us the consistency that we need in our business. And systems can be as simple as, the practices that you're doing, as far as, if you set up searches and you copy yourself, you look at people looking at stuff, you send it out, where it's basically a built-in routine. And as your business grows, many of us will make financial decisions as part of our systems, so that, whether it's, expired, for sale by owner, foreign marketing, past clients, but having something built in there that keeps you top of mind, so that you don't break, David, because at your level, you can do that for 5 years, have 5x your clients, and it can become very overwhelming. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I started with nothing, I guess, and so I wanted to have a good start and have a foundation for something, but I recognize that's not very scalable. You started with a foundation, and one of the things that I think is missing a little bit in the era that we're in now, David, where everybody's able to work remotely from home, both because of technology and convenience. I think that you have to give a lot of credit to your very lovely, talented wife there, who you've listened to her on the phone for years, right?
Absolutely.
Because I think when I started out in sales on the lending side, the only way that I learned, there was no training manual, there was no procedures. I just sat and listened to other people perform, and then that wound up building a foundation and a skill set for myself. So I think having a successful spouse in the business is a plus, but that can be compensated for by attending groups like this, or going to the office and absorbing what other people are doing. So anyway, the fourth thing, and I'm going to do this just in case you don't recall from our conversation, because we had a lot of things we talked about, and we had a little bit of a challenge prioritizing them. But the fourth thing that David and I talked about was active listening. Okay, because I think a lot of times, we're so anxious to serve our clients that sometimes we don't listen enough. And if you want to talk a little bit about, how you use active listening to get your success that you've accomplished so far, David.
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of that communication that you're having with people, either when you're with them or you're speaking with them on the phone. They can give you clues, they can give you visual clues. So as I said, I set up pre-formatted searches and then the homes get sent to them. But every time I'm out with somebody, we talk about, well, what do you like, what do you not like, and I make adjustments accordingly to the searches. I'm sure everybody does something similar. Actually, similarly with, it's not really the active listening, but as I said, the KV core alerts, you can see what people are looking at. And if they're not covered with the searches I've been doing, I make adjustments and I talk to them about, well, how about, I don't tell them that I've been spying on them, but I say, well, how about this area or that kind of house or whatever, and just, course correct as we go along.
Wonderful. And the number 5 was a interesting one, and we kind of came up with this together, but it's a confidence, maybe it would be confidence, competence, and humility. And that kind of formula is something that has served you well, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you learn the competence, but as you said, I've had 17 years of training with Trudy sitting here. The confidence, this is a relationship business. I never think that I work in sales. I think I work in advisory services or consulting, particularly when you're working with buyers. So I never feel I'm trying to sell anything. But I've always got on well with people. That's, I suppose I would be confident that if I meet people, I'm going to get on okay with them. When it comes to humility, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I know that there's far more I don't know about this business than I do know, and I'm leveraging what I do know. But the reason I say it's an interesting one is, how much humility? I have the most humility of everybody. It's one of those strange things to say out loud. I think everyone needs a little bit of humility and understanding that there's always somebody who knows more than you do. And that's why sessions like this and the ramp sessions we have on the ramp course, one of the best things about that, the course itself is great, but talking with the people who are there and listening and learning from them and the technologies they're using and their style and approach to things. There's a ton of things that I know I've still got to learn, but this is an environment that supports that, and it's this kind of company culture of getting together and talking absolutely supports that.
So David, what would you say if there was a critic who said that maybe you just have beginner's luck?
Yeah, I was fortunate to start in a busy market. And I would say, as with everybody in every job, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
And are you seeing with the market slowing down, are you seeing that your momentum is offsetting the little bit of a slowdown in the number of transactions in the market, or are you seeing that your learning and skill set is continuing to grow your business and your brand?
I haven't suffered from the market slowdown yet. I closed on 3 last week. That said, I've got no offers sitting. I'm expecting to put in an offer this afternoon, but I really don't have anything out there at the moment. So, but I'm busy. As I said, I was out all day yesterday. I'm working with a lot of people that I'm hopeful will make offers. So I'm not seeing a slow. I'm not wondering where my next appointment's coming from. I spent Thursday rustling up appointments for this weekend, and then spent all day out yesterday.
And when we were talking, you made a comment that, people appreciate your smile and that they can feel it over the phone. I don't know if you want to maybe embellish on that comment that I jotted down.
Yeah, I think again we've talked about this on door knocking, and other people have made the same point. If the door opens and there's somebody smiling at them on the other side of it, it's hard to slam the door in your face. And I think if you go into something and you're going to enjoy it, show that you're enjoying it, and try and enjoy what you're doing and make the people you're with enjoy what they're doing, and smiling goes a long way.
So how do you make your clients, and have you done any listings yet, David, or these all been buyers?
I've done a list. One of the ones I closed last week was a listing in Hillsborough, and I've done a rental. That was a townhouse, who I then helped him buy a home also in Hillsborough, a bigger house. And I did a rental listing last year and did both sides of that. But that's one of the gaps I've written down. So it's all very well that I've had some level of success working with buyers. One of the gaps I've written down was I'm not doing nearly enough to get listings. I'm really not even trying. So, and I'm not doing enough at the moment to reduce the dependency on Zillow. So those are two areas that I think over the next few weeks and months I need to focus on.
Okay, and let me go back here. So we have you want to talk about creativity and using some tools. I know that you were very enlightening when I spoke to you about how your Zillow success was, and maybe you want to even go in a little bit deeper about how you keep those clients engaged longer and exclusive longer through the Zillow, and then other technology.
Sure. So Zillow, as everyone who uses it will know, has a concept of my agent. And if you can get somebody to connect their profile on Zillow to your profile, you become their exclusive agent for the next 12 months. So I've got some of those. And the way I get people to try and sign up for that is to package it up as something I'm offering them and not something I'm asking them to do. So when I meet people, and I never mention this until I've met them. I don't think I ever mention it, but typically I won't mention it until I've met them. And then when we're talking about the various things I can help them, I went through this with the people I met for the first time yesterday who were first-time buyers. I talked about the various searches that I'll do for them and the pre-formatted stuff in the MLS and the KV Core alerts that they'll get, and explain the difference between those. And the other thing I typically say is, and the other thing I can do for you is send you a link that will allow you to contact me immediately through Zillow or Trulia with the press of a button. For anything you see, in case there's anything that I haven't picked up, would that be useful? And people just typically say, yes, that would be useful. So then I'll send it to them. Rather than, would you like to connect your profile to mine and make me your exclusive agent for the next year? So
David, that's huge. Can you repeat that? And anybody who's investing in Zillow or getting Zillow leads, you might want to, maybe even jot this down.
Yeah. So what I try and do is have them think I'm doing something for them rather than I'm asking them to do something for me. And I package it up as one of three things I'm going to do for them, or I can do for them. The third one being I can send them a link that will make it easy for them to contact me through Zillow or Trulia with a press of a button and know that I'm on the other end of the request and not some random agent, and then say, would that be useful? And I've never had anybody say no, because it sounds like it should be useful. Then now they don't always sign up. So people will say yes. If they don't sign up, the other thing you can do to try and keep that connection is when you first connect with somebody on Zillow, I think you get 30 days. So I also check the status of the people who haven't signed me up as their agent. And when I see that the 30 days, I'm at like day 20 or 25, I'll send them a text. And I try to get them to respond to a text in Zillow. And if they do, you get another 30 days. And so I'll try and keep people kind of alive and connected if they haven't signed up to the My Agent. And I think all in, I'm about 50% on with that side and the My Agent who have done it. I think about 50% of the people have connected.
So David, just to I kind of re-emphasize this for those of us who are investing in Zillow, a connection on Zillow on average costs about $400 for that live phone call. And I've been actively assisting with the Zillow program a little bit more. And when you look at that average number of 400, it includes some transactions that come in for 79,000, 199,000 for co-ops and some oddball properties. So I would say that a bona fide connection for a serviceable client is probably going to be in the neighborhood of $600. So if you're able to extend that for an extra 30 days, you know, that's got to be adding $300 to $600 of value, because everything they request comes back to you. Does that make sense, everybody on the call? And I see some thumbs up. That's great. And in terms of, you know, when David was, you know, making his pitch to be the My Agent, you know, he reversed the process and said, hey, can you repeat that again one more time for us? You said it's not about you, it's about them. But how did you eloquently make that proposition?
So when we're having, usually after we've seen the first house or we, you know, spent time with somebody, I explain, particularly with first-time buyers, but generally with everyone, what can they expect and what can they expect from me and what they can expect from me. And honestly, I mean, I know I'm only using the MLS things, but I tell people, you know, I've got a background in technology, so I've got these processes I run for you. So you'll get searches and emails from me. You'll get them automatically in case I'm away. And the other thing I can do for you is send you a link that means with a press of a button in Zillow, you can contact me and let me know that you're interested in more information on a certain home. Would that be useful? And as I say, nobody ever says no.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Okay, are you mostly working, do you have a farm area that you work? Or are you just working buyers?
I'm working buyers at the moment. Now, Trudy and I have been postcarding a couple of areas that we're going to follow up and door knock. I've had some success with door knocking. I'm working with a couple of people as a result of it. But no, we've been trying to sort of create a bit of a farm, but we need to go and meet the people next.
And do we have any other questions based upon what we discussed so far?
Yeah, one more. Do you have when you buy Zillow leads, what do you pay for the Zillow leads, if you don't mind me asking?
About $1,000 a month each, I think we're paying at the moment. It's not a vast amount, but it's paying for itself. But by you know, it's paying itself by multiples, paying for itself.
Okay, thank you.
And David, what would you estimate your conversion rate to be on Zillow? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I probably should have asked you this before.
Yeah, that's when you asked about the batting average and the offers to accept ratio. That's why I thought it was lower than it is, because I'm working with a lot of people and not getting enough of them to the finishing line, and that's what I'd like to get kind of the group think on and help me with. How do I convert more? So as I said earlier, I've done 66 showings this year with 19 different people, why aren't I making more offers? And am I not doing something to make them feel a sense of urgency, or is this about right? Is that about the right number? I don't know. I've got nothing to compare with, really.
So David, you know, your discussion is bringing into, making me recollect, you had a client that you kind of pushed back on. Was that just yesterday?
Yes. Yeah, the guy who then went and approached the listing agent directly. Yes.
Didn't you have somebody that was looking to make an offer below asking price, and you were like, look, you're not going to get it? I don't know if he came up.
Same guy. Yeah, it's the same guy.
Can you share that
Sure.
experience with the group and how you engage the seller? You didn't say you're a jerk and ain't going to get accepted, did you?
No. So there was a home, we saw it on day one, it being on the market, which was a Friday. They had two open houses for the Saturday and the Sunday, and he asked me to go in 35,000 under the list price. And I said to him, I can promise you it's not going to work. So he insisted that that's what he wanted to do. And then it went to best and final. And I called him and said, we're best and final now. I explained what that meant. I said, I'm promising you, you're not going to get the home. If you want it, you're going to have to go at or above list, because I can assure you other people are going to do that. And he insisted that he was going to stick with what it was. He didn't get the house, and then called the listing agent directly and said, I didn't get the house, I want to increase my offer. And she contacted me, which was good of her, and just said, yeah, here's what your client's doing. So I don't know whether that's going to be a productive relationship going forward.
Anybody else have any other questions for the rookie of the year?
I do carry my trophy around every day.
Hold on. So David, can you share just add a little bit of humor here? Share the first thought that you had when they announced your name. It's quite comical.
Yeah, so we're in Atlantic City. We're sitting at the table, and I had Eric and Jackie sitting opposite me, and behind me was the screen, and the headline came up, and now it's Rookie of the Year, but it didn't have a name on it. And I can't remember, it was either Jackie or Eric. Oh, well, look over there, look at you. And it was kind of a joke. I thought, and I'll look around and said, oh yeah, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? And they went, no, look. And I turned around, and my name, well, David Hayes is written up there. And my first thought was, oh, there's two David Hayeses here. And I paused for a minute, and then people, well, go on then. and it took a few seconds to sort of register, and then the next thing I knew, I was walking on the stage, which was a complete surprise. I had no idea I was even close to anything like that.
So yeah, that's the humility part of you, David. Oh, is it really me?
Yeah, it was a very nice surprise, but it was a surprise, and as I said, took a minute, took a few seconds to register that it was actually me.
So does anybody have any questions? I know you also are using KV Core, correct?
Yep.
You're experimenting and finding a little bit of success with that too. Yeah,
I'm not. There's tons of features in KV Core that I need to do a bit more exploring on. I know Glenn uses videos out of there. I'm not doing that, but I do find it useful just to keep things ticking over. So the alerts, because I often add in a few extra towns, and you can change the price range and then claim deniability that it was an automatic alert if it wasn't anything that they were particularly interested in. But that's helpful. I think if you're using that, you have to be aware that my experience has been most of them go to spam folders, so you have to let people know that that particular format of mail is coming their way. But yeah, that's a useful product so far, but I'm only scratching the surface of what it's capable of from what I can see.
This is Ron Piccolo again. I'm sorry. I got a couple more questions. Okay, obviously, you know, you're successful in what you're doing, and that's great. Do you do any videos or any social media with your business at all?
I'm not really a Facebooker, but I do have 1,250 something contacts on LinkedIn through my previous career. So I've got an automatic post out of, I've connected KV Core to my LinkedIn profile. So twice a week, it posts something. And honestly, I don't know what it's going to post before it goes out there. I know I've got like 6 different topics it'll choose from, like architecture. There's various things that it'll choose from, and it'll put something on LinkedIn. And that's just really so I don't completely disappear from those people. And I did post the picture of me on stage at Atlantic City and got a ton of reaction from that. And quite a few of those people live in New Jersey in houses that they might want to sell at some point. But it's more LinkedIn than Facebook. I use Facebook more for social things, personal things.
I got a question.
Okay.
Rob?
Yeah.
Hi. I missed the first 5 minutes. So one question is, how many units did you do?
Apparently 19.
Wow. Congratulations. My other question is, this may not be a question for you, but you said something I didn't know, that we're all learning about KV Core and I'm starting to really use it more. What do you mean you can, I know what it means, you can link it to your other LinkedIn, but what do you mean it's sending, like you don't know what it's going to send? What is it, what can KV Core send to, like, say, LinkedIn? Is it sending them articles, pictures? I didn't,
Yeah,
that sounds very interesting to me. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it was something like, not written by me, it's just something that they found. It'll be, here's some interesting brief article about modern architecture, or here's something around finance. So there's a bunch of topics you can choose from, and you have to choose a minimum number. So there's a couple on there I wasn't that, like interior design. I know nothing about interior design, but I needed, I think, 6 topics. And then twice a week, it chooses from the pool of relevant current articles, and it just posts on my LinkedIn page. And so I don't have to do anything with it apart from renew that connection about every couple of months.
Hey, Rob Lazar, Wednesday at our meeting, would you mind showing me how you do that?
How you do what?
What he just said, on KV Core, how you pick, I like that idea, how you pick topics and all that. I mean,
Rob, I think we have a class that Carly had already created on the system that has that ability to connect your multimedia to your KV Core.
Yep, I took that class and that's where I got that from.
Yeah, you can always email our training department if you want one-on-one, but we also have KV course scheduled through Zoom on Wednesdays. Just look at the hub and you'll be able to register, and they'll show you how to do it. And
okay.
If you want to do it today, feel free to reach out to me and I'll guide you through it.
And I'm sorry, and you are, I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
Idona. I'm from the Morristown office. I'm the manager here.
Oh, cool. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Rob, I have a question.
Go ahead.
David, how do you connect or tag your leads as they're coming in, these Zillow leads, as to their action and activity and follow-up?
I don't do a lot of tagging. I've started tagging in KV Core. I find it easy in there. So you can just do a hashtag must call and then see who you must call. The Zillow, honestly, I start at the top and work my way down. But also the Zillow status gives you a big clue. So I've rejected a bunch of people who they're no-shows or whatever they are. So you can see those that you're actively making offers from just in the status that you're working with. Nothing should ever be new.
So David, how do you go about managing the no-shows? Because can you share with everybody where your primary Zillow leads are, and share where you are coming from when you're at your home office?
So I spend a lot of time in, well, we're buying leads in Hillsborough and Florham Park. I'm buying leads, Hillsborough and Florham Park. And the Remax Select leads tend to be Parsippany and Edison. I live in just outside California in Hunterdon County. So it's about a 50-minute drive to Parsippany. Not Parsippany, Piscataway, sorry, it's Piscataway and Edison. So it's about a 50-minute drive. And I was caught out a number of times early on with, typically with people I'd never actually met. Turns out I never was going to, because I wasn't confirming on the morning of. Say it was a Sunday and I'd arranged on a Wednesday to see somebody at 11 o'clock on Sunday. I just was trusting they would show up. And people don't. And it's very frustrating when you've got a 2-hour round trip to find that they're not showing up. And then if you call and they just say, oh yeah, I forgot. Or sometimes they realize and they won't pick up. So I've had that done 8 times. So now if I can't get somebody to confirm by text that they intend to show up, I cancel the appointment.
Fantastic. So for those of you who are thinking that David has it easy, it's almost an hour's drive, especially with traffic, just to take a chance at that first appointment. And you've adapted from your experience of being stood up.
I've been stood up many times in my life, bro.
So we, I think, and I'm not going to put on the spot, but I think I saw our first runner-up for actually the Rookie of the Year, and hopefully she doesn't hold any ill will towards you, David. Raina Steinberg is on. Raina, are you still with us here?
I am here. I'm here. I might have a little background noise because I'm out walking my dog, but I'm here. Thank you so much.
So Raina, and just a really broad oversight, like what would be the, 2 or 3 things that, helped you, achieve your success, and maybe even share with us how long you've been in the business beforehand?
Okay. Sure. I am going to be having coming up on my 2-year anniversary on March 11th. So I'll be going into my 2nd year. Very excited about that. So it's coming up soon. That's from when I got my license. And I think the thing that's helped me be most successful is being on a strong team with a strong leader that has helped me develop my marketing plan and has helped guide me and really given me, one-on-one attention that helped me build my business. Another thing that we talked about is just being open to all suggestions. So, when I started, I really wanted to go full time and I wanted to go all in. So I'm basically willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. Not saying no to anything that people, suggest, and just going for it 100%. Also having a leader like you, Rob, that's very involved and hands-on and, comes out with us, I think is important, and being felt like you're part of, something bigger than just yourself, that, you're not on an island all alone. That you have resources, you have support, and just, knowing that you can ask for help if you're struggling. I think that's the most important thing for me.
And Raina, what was your prior career, if you want to share? I know, but if you want to share with the group.
Sure. I was a teacher. So working with people on a day-to-day basis, anticipating their needs, and, being my own self-motivator was a big part of being a teacher as well. So I think that helped, and also helped connect with Emily because she's a natural educator as well. So we were able to, she knew what I was going to need, and she was able to learn from her mistakes and pass that knowledge on to me, which was great. And I think having those people skills is really important.
And do you recall approximately what your number of transactions were in the past year in volume? I don't have it on my fingertips.
Last year, I did 27 transactions. So that's including rentals, closings and rentals. In volume, I don't remember, but I know, I think it was almost 9 million, something like that.
And what was your highest and what was your lowest transaction sales wise?
I think like a condo is probably the lowest, was like around 199. And then highest was my own listing that I had from my builder that I met door knocking, was $1,050,000. But now we're under contract at 3. Well, we have offers accepted on 2 of the new construction. We have 5 up on the market and 1 under contract. So 3 out of 5 are basically spoken for. The highest listing on that end is a 1.6. So.
And what's the breakdown of listings versus buyers, Rena, for you?
It's been mostly buyers, but been getting a lot more listings starting this year. I had 3 of my own listings so far, and now this year I have 7 on the market right now that are my own listings, and then 2 exclusives. So
and you have 3 farms, right?
Yeah, I have 3 farms, the places where we've bought and are developing right now. So Summit, Madison, and Chatham.
So David, we might have to have a recount. 27 here.
Year 2 though, Rob. Can't be rookie in year 2. Actually, March the 11th must be an auspicious day because that was my final day in my previous job last year.
So you had a different emphasis, Rena, than what David has, and I think that's healthy for everybody to see that there's not 1, 2, or 3 ways to be successful. But I think what I'm observing is both of you, from what I've seen, are going all in on what works for you. Because I know, Rena, you were all in on, building those farms and doing whatever it took to build the farms, from putting out holiday flags to, consistent door knocking to adding value. And I know that for a fact because sometimes when you knock on the door with us, they recognize you from a previous conversation, which I think is healthy.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the mayor of my farm right now. It actually helps. My neighbors have been helping sell the houses. So when they see people come to check out the lots for the new construction, some of the neighbors have come out and been like, you're going to love this neighborhood. They talk it up. They talk about, the block. They talk about the schools and the block parties and everything. And, I keep in touch with like the neighbors on both sides. And one of the young couples was like, yeah, we met somebody coming and we hope that they buy the house, So it's really nice. And I have a few contacts in the neighborhood. One other guy, he gave me a call to let me know putting a neighbor into a nursing home. So he's like, you better get over there, so.
Hey, Rob, that something go right over my head. When you're talking farm, you talking about her farming areas, or are you talking legitimately about a farm that broke into lots?
No, we're talking about a a segment of a town that she's owning, and she's the mayor of. She's door knocking there. What, 4, 6 a year?
4 to 5. When I have listings, obviously more open houses. Letting them know I have something coming soon. I've been calling to let people know, like we just we got an offer accepted on this one. Anybody that else is trying to sell, we have limited inventory right now. I'd love to help you, stuff like that.
So is Frank De Silva still on here?
Well, before Rob, before you move to Frank, I just want to ask Rhea, what are some of the things that you do to a farm besides door knocking?
So like Rob mentioned, sometimes flags off, so I'm not even knocking on the door at that point. I'm just tying my business card onto the flag, putting it on their lawn, and then everybody, the next time my door knocks, they're like, "Oh, you're the one that put the flag on my lawn." Like, and I've seen they have their flags from the year before. So people really like that. I've dropped off materials, and besides that, I'm sending postcards every month, whether I have something in the neighborhood or it's a recipe or a community calendar that I create. I'm just making like little touches throughout the year, every month. So also phone.
Yeah.
Problem still on.
And all right, and Randy, I think, and Frank, I'll come to you in a second. One thing I think that really makes the conversation easy is you always have some activity to talk about, whether it's, you know, you sold a house and somebody improved it, and you can talk about how you're increasing the value of the homes in the neighborhood by, you know, renovating existing properties. And that's very engaging. People are always curious as to what's going on and how many offers did you have on that and when is it closing?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that can easily be a 3 to 5 minute conversation to build your brand value and that relationship you have with the neighborhood.
Yeah, people are always curious to find out what's going on in their neighborhood. And, you know, even if they're not selling, I always ask, like, you know, who do you think is going to be the next one to sell? So it's definitely a good conversation. And, you know, people like to indulge them on that. So there's a lot that you can add. You can even say, you know, like, I got involved in the neighborhood. I'm teaching a yoga class at the library once a month. So, or if I don't have something going on, I just pick something that's going on in the community and say, hey, did you know there's a car show going on this weekend? Just wanted to fill you in, something like that.
Perfect. So I want to give Frank 1 minute because I'm going to be, is it next Tuesday, Frank?
Yes.
The 13th. We're in West Del Rey. Frank is our Motto partner. So why don't you just give us a 1 minute plug for that so that anybody in our Florida market can come join and meet us in person.
Yes, absolutely. So on the 14th at 11 a.m. at the West Del Rey office, United Wholesale Mortgage is going to be coming out and doing a presentation for us. They're going to be showing us how to leverage their speed and rates to really win deals out there. Sean Washington is going to be coming out to do the presentation. It's really, really going to be a good thing for agents to come out and take a look. If you're not in Florida, we're going to be live streaming as well. So we'll have that link available to all the agents. So if you were in Jersey and you want to check it out, we're licensed in Florida and New Jersey. So we're able to, you know, get things done very quickly.
Perfect.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is Ron Piccolo again. Just to let everybody know in the Florida locations, on March 15th, I will be giving the introduction to the RAMP program at the Parkland office at 1 o'clock. So anybody interested in RAMP should attend. It's a pretty cool program.
Awesome. So I want to just zig here for just a moment. I was in the office on Saturday. We did a few calls, outbound calls, and I was talking to one of our associates who was telling me he has a client that is investing in SRO properties. Anybody know what that is?
No.
I was like, please tell me, what is that? And they were HUD and VA approved. I'm like, ooh, now you really got to tell me. I'm very, very interested. So HUD and VA are paying up to, or I think it might even been a minimum in New Jersey of $1,500 per room for single room occupancy, which is what SRO is. And he had an investor that was just, he was HUD and VA approved and getting contracts for primarily homeless veterans to rent a room for $1,500 a month.
Wow.
And he was buying them in areas and converting properties into cash cows. So that's on my list of things to, look into. And I think it would be a good conversation for our investors. And, I like guaranteed. I think it's a socially responsible and good thing to do to provide housing to veterans. And if you can make money and do a good thing, I think that's awesome. So SROs, HUD and VA approved. If you're interested or you want to learn more about that, as I do my discovery, I'll be sharing that with the group.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So any last minute questions that we have next week? A big plug is the VIP card. We have Scott Kaplan, and I might even have Glenn Baker kind of co-host that one. They've really taken a concept that I brought to them and run with it. And I think it's going to be awesome for the group. It's very, very, very inexpensive, and modestly, you can have a customized one with, getting a couple of vendors to support it. I think it's the essence of everything that we're looking to do. This morning with our team leaders, we were talking about what type of content and videos get the best engagement, and you might not be surprised to find out that the best engagement is not, hey, here's the local market report, right? The best engagement is, hey, I want to talk to you about a local vendor, a new restaurant, a new business that's in the local marketplace that they're featuring. Gets a lot more engagement than does a market update. Because the market update is obviously limited to just people who, are in that, market or have that mindset to be shopping around. And I think we need to build relationships instead of trying to, be a sharpshooter on the video. And, if we don't get a sale after doing 3 videos, we stop. It's the wrong mindset. We want to position ourselves as the mayor of our community and a resource. And a real estate professional, if that makes sense and resonates with anybody. And I know Glenn, for those of you who are up in the Morris County area, Glenn Baker has a full-out studio in the lower level of our renovated building there. And you should check out some of his videos if you're thinking of, building your video brand. And I would encourage everybody to do it. And I'll just say, like, your first videos are going to be horrible, but just do it anyway. You have to start, and then you'll improve and get better. So I think we're just about wrapping up. Any last minute questions? If there are none, I want to acknowledge David, Hayes, and Trudy, who are out of our Morristown office, Morris, Somerset, Hunterdon, Union, Essex, Middlesex counties. If you have any referrals, you're in a different part of New Jersey or Florida, please keep them in mind. And then we have Raina Steinberg, actually also from our Morristown office. And Raina focuses more on Summit, which is Union County, and Morris County. Is that any other areas that you're focusing on there, Raina?
I'm also in Basking Ridge where I live, so Somerset County as well.
Also Somerset County. So if you have any questions, you can look them up, give them a call. Dave, you want to give me your numbers? I'll just put them in the chat, or can you do it? And I'll put Raina's in. Raina, what's your direct number?
Nine 4984.
And David, you want to put yours in there? Just type it in. There you go. So if you have any referrals, please keep in mind to pass them along. Any questions, reach out to them. That's how we all learn. I appreciate all your time. See you this Friday, and have a great week, everybody. And if you're in New Jersey, the Zillow meetings are this week if you want to attend.